And it's time to look at those big stories that made headlines through the week. Busy week, like I said, and very many big stories that ran through the week. But of course, the anti-homosexuality bill returned to Parliament, and Tuesday has been set as a day when Parliament will sit again to reconsider this bill after His Excellency the President, of course, identified several gaps that must be reconsidered before he assents to the bill. And other big stories in the week, actually it is good news that Ugandans who were trapped in that conflict in Sudan were evacuated and they were safely returned to Uganda. 211 Ugandans were evacuated this week through Ethiopia, and they are now safely back in Uganda. I think my panelists will make a comment on that, and I'll be actually asking them if this time round the government is doing its job and it's all well this time round. I remember there is a time when we actually praised a neighboring government for doing such a good work, to intervening at a critical moment and evacuating its citizens. But this time around, the Ugandan government has done its job very well. But again, another issue, and a very burning issue, which will be actually our main topic for discussion, is the brutality of police and the excessive force used by security agencies dispersing events organized by opposition politicians, and the ugly scenes that we witnessed this week as police battled female opposition legislators in front of the gate of Parliament really looked not really good. And on the panel this morning, Richard Baguma, a communication expert, an advocate for proper nutrition, is already in the studios. We've been joined by the Secretary General for the National Economic Empowerment Dialogue, a new political party in Uganda, Asuman Odaka, and of course Moa Ibrahim, a political activist, is already in the studios. Big shouts to our regular panelists who are missing in action. Dr. Gerard Wele Wanzara, a man from Namisindwa, I know that you are watching, but you did not make it today. We salute you wherever you are. And Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire, Member of Parliament for Buyaga West, salutations to you wherever you are. You told me you are in the constituency, mingling with your voters. Thank you so much for tuning in, our viewers. Now we kick off the show, and Richard Baguma speak to our viewers before we start.
Good morning, our dear viewers, and good morning to my colleagues here. I am keen, I think, after here to hear about the economic empowerment, something dialogue. You see, people start off as secretary generals in jeans, then they become prime ministers in armored cars, and when you see this one and you see this one, you can't believe it. That's why I like these photos. Then when you meet him, you send him a photo. Mr. Baguma. Good morning. God is very powerful.
Yes.
God is almighty, but God is also very gracious, and I don't take the grace for granted.
Thank you. It's always the pleasure, Baguma, having you on the show.
Yes, it's my pleasure being here, by the way. And now you have improved greatly. You make good tea also.
Wow.
So apart from the good stewardship of the program, now you also make good tea. So great improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. Asuman Odaka, speak to our viewers.
Thank you very much, first of all, my brother Apollo. It's been a long time. I want to say good morning to our viewers, and good morning to my colleagues. And especially Mr. Baguma, who I have watched, and he never disappoints. And that is always him. Since I was at university, you know, there was a time we would go to Pan-African. And the first time I went to Pan-African, that's around what used to be called Suskalop. They had invited Mr. Baguma to discuss about, I think, a specific topic of Congo crisis by then. I am telling you, I left there a very great student. I wish I was.
Thank you.
He can pay tuition.
Now, when I become prime minister,
He will enjoy many favors.
yeah, he will certainly be in things. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you very much for the invitation, and I thank the media, also Soul TV, to always making it.
Thank you. Thank you, Asman. And Moa Ibrahim, just a shout to our viewers.
Good morning, our dear viewers. Moa Ibrahim again here. We don't take it for granted that you save time to be with us every time we are here to discuss matters of national importance. I like to commend the confidence of Asman here, because his diction is quite certain. He said when he becomes the prime minister, not if.
I don't if things
he must really have a lot of confidence.
He's not ready to commit himself before he becomes something.
Yeah, but he seems to be having a lot of confidence in what he's saying.
That man to see me, Apollo, knows me. He knows that I am a literature student. I don't use language. I just don't throw out English.
Okay. So the confidence he has in himself, I hope it is based on structures and not wishful thinking. We welcome new players on the political scene, especially if they are not coming to be also around, and they will really engage in the struggle for that this country can get the change it deserved yesterday.
Wow. Thank you so much, Moa Ibrahim. He is a political activist, and thank you so much, our viewers and those who follow our programs. These programs also run on our social media platforms. In case you miss out on a show, you can follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and all other Salt media platforms. You'll be able to follow up and watch these shows. But before we kick off the show, I must inform you that you can be part of this discussion. You can send your SMS or WhatsApp message to 0701 60 9906 and engage us and engage the panel on a number of the topics we'll be discussing. And gentlemen, my attention was drawn to a story and an event that took place in Kigali this week. Norbert Mao, the DP President General, and also the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, accompanied General Muhoozi Kainerugaba to a birthday party in Kigali, hosted by the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, General Paul Kagame. I don't know if what you pick from that event. Just a comment, gentlemen, before we roll on towards our main topic for discussion. And Richard, of course, you must take it on first.
I think it would be naive to assume that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is going to eat cake with General Paul Kagame. They probably don't even touch the piece. Maybe the cake is eaten by others. In fact, somebody was commenting on our forum, the Old Boys Forum of Ontari School. I mean, Kagame is an old boy of Ontari School. That even when he toasted, he didn't actually drink.
Really?
Yeah, but because he's toasting, it's because you want to. It's not because you want to drink. The purpose of toasting is not because you want to drink. No. So for anyone really to say that the General Muhoozi flies from here to go and eat cake with General Kagame
in Kigali,
really, in Village Urugwiro, I think that would be a naive thinking. So yes, being accompanied by the Minister for Security and the Minister for Constitutional Affairs, and of course there are things that are going to be discussed.
Not just a birthday party.
No. So, nothing strange.
Asuman, do you pick anything from such a moments?
Yes. It is the General David Sejusa who one time, I think when he was asked about, you remember his exile, and when he was
in
coming
London.
back.
When he self-exiled and went to wash socks.
Well, it depends on what side of the coin. And there's a question was asked, and he said, wasn't that a commission? Was that commission not a mistake on your side? He said, no. He said, no. Make no mistake. Actions or inactions of generals are matters of strategy.
Oh.
So when at that level, General Muhoozi lives here to go and meet General Kagame, accompanied by key ministers, security and justice. You simply don't want to think it was just like any other thing. You would want to dig further, and you see, if you listen to General Kagame speaking and saying friendship and the neighborhood and then this and so on, you would want to dig into what actually he did not say. So it is not ordinary. It has a pointer to whether you want to call it, others want to call it succession here in this country. Yeah, even if Mao has forgotten that he promised people here transition. So all those have into play and have implication to that.
Do you, as opposition politicians, take keen interest in such a proceedings?
Any politician, not just opposition, any politician interested in the politics of this country who does not take keen interest, whether it is as important or not, is not into politics. So certainly we do.
Really?
At least I do, and my party does.
Moya Ibrahim, what do you make of such a meeting involving key ministers and Norbert Mao in particular?
That what we have is a military rather than a civilian government. Who should be escorting who? In national protocol, where does General Muhoozi Kainerugaba rank? And in which capacity was he going? And since it is given as an official communication of a birthday party, okay, there could be underlying things, but the face of the function is a birthday celebration hosted by General, the President Kagame, for the son of his friend, General Museveni. A birthday party is supposed to be a social event for friends and so on. Yes, national issues will be discussed at a forum of that level, but then when we come to national protocols and so on, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs and the Minister of other ministers, it comes down to what we have been singing over a long period of time, that the structure arrangement of this government does not exist. It is about individual prowess, individual power, and to be able to eat, you must be willing to service and lick the fingers of those who distribute the bread. And this is what all nobody, even his coming into accepting to be a minister of this government is about eating. Don't be misled by anything. Actually, the president came out and denied his assertions he was making about.
Couldn't this be part of his plan for transition as he pledged before he joined?
If he has one, that is in the first place. If he has a plan for transition, which I doubt he has any, like I said, this is about survival. You must be seen to toe the line and support those who informally will the pass of finances. One time I watched Honorable Ibrahim Semuju giving what was a very important comment in this country, that General Salim Saleh does not hold any substantial position, but people flock to Gulu to meet him all the time.
Even now in Kapeka.
Because you talk about Kapeka, I was there yesterday, and I don't think I have used the worst road in this country, but that is talk of another day. So because he controls the means to the access to resources, so these ministers are not there to discuss. They are not even needed when the important issues are being discussed, because the important issues in this country are discussed by the military, not by the politicians. The only politician who engages is the one who is the military man himself, the president. So they are here to give physical support to show the world that the younger man is very strong, and he can make anybody escort him to any birthday party anywhere in the world.
Finally, Baguma, does this, what we saw, give latitude to the so-called MK movement and talk of succession? Now seeing the security minister also, I mean, is it connected? Do you see it connected to that talk of succession?
I think Mao was late in building alliances. I think Mao was quite late. But Mao is astute. He's not below average. Mao is astute. True. It's very dangerous to underestimate him. And the people in DP can tell you that they made the mistake of underestimating him. And he took over the leadership of the party, and they assumed they would throw him out. They failed.
Yeah, they failed.
Absolutely. The other ones who stayed with him, they are the ones in positions. And so you have the inevitability of nature. The inevitability of nature is such that the guys who are ruling now must get out because of nature, even if there is no other reason. Yes, nature will force you to get out. And so you plan for getting out. Every one of us plans for getting out. And that's what they talk about. I want to pay school fees for my children. Why? Those I want to build, I don't know. People are excited about rentals, but why? When I am weak, I have what do you call it? Income that is passive. So we are all. He will make a party, new party, because he thinks the other ones are transitioning out.
The political party.
Yeah, so he is the one which will come and become the dominant one. That's what he I assume he dreams about. So Mao must, I think, in my view, as an astute a politician who is still around, start realigning with the forces that may seem to have advantage. And you see, look at Kenya or look at Congo. The person who became president in Congo was not the second or the first.
Was not the third.
I mean, so you have to, and because the person in reality is the president. Whether you say he was the third or he was the fifth, he is the president. So do you want to remain a player? If you want to remain a player, you are either a strong opposition or you realign and take some. The Kenyans do it very well. How many times has Mzee Odinga aligned with whatever?
So
how many times has Ruto moved from here to there and it's prepared him to president? How many times did Uhuru change from, I don't know, Kanu to I don't know where?
Are you suggesting that senior ministers and actually historicals of NRM like Major General Jim Mwezi are now aligning to a party that seems to be to be the future of the government in power?
Susan Muhwezi, General Muhwezi's wife, was the shepherd of the first family's children. Why do you think that one has stopped? So if you keep chaperoning this one, you are doing what you have been doing historically. So what's the difference? I don't see any. For me, it is for Mao, who I think is very astute and has read. You look at the region called Guru.
Yeah.
And then you see he's realigning, which I think is clever, in my view.
The reason I raise the issue is because General Muhoozi has been, I mean, in all his tours, has been moving with young people, people who are not, I mean...
Yeah, but you imagine me, I'm going to meet Muai and this guy. And you want me to come with old men? I am going to meet these two here. I will come with the young ones who they tweet, who they WhatsApp, TikTok. When I'm going to meet the president, I must go with the senior, seasoned.
Okay.
Yes. So you go with the young one. You wanted him to go with Barugari. Really?
I get it now.
Yes.
And I think we should move on. We are looking at these big topics before we tackle the main topic. And should we thank the government for evacuating Ugandans from the conflict?
No, for me, it's Naridemu in the evacuation. Yes, Naridemu. Because you see, you know, I don't live with you. You know, I say it, I don't live with my family because of the work we do. They live outside this country on deployment. But because of the work they do, the diplomatic work they do, and being in the region, when it reached the issues in Sudan, she got involved. She was deployed to get involved. So then she had to fly with them actually here. After bus with them, they bus together.
Wow.
They spent all those nights outside, sleeping outside, and no meals and water and things. But she was part of the diplomatic team that was handling this. So now, yesterday was my birthday. So after many years of not having my wife for birthday, she was around because of the problems in Sudan. So sometimes when a cow dies, some dogs are happy. But seriously, we must commend. So the personal things outside. You didn't even congratulate me for my birthday.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, seriously, that the Ugandan government had the readiness and the capacity to bus people in hostile territory. By the way, people don't even know that the Oromo region, where a lot of people are in Ethiopia, where a lot of people are passing, there is even a curfew, by the way. You're not even allowed to drive after 7.
It is said they actually encountered problems after crossing into...
Yes, because people think the wars are only here. In Ethiopia, they are okay. That's where I live, partly because that's where my family is. But we don't say these things. It is okay for citizens to assume that things are not. Yes, so to take them through hostile territory, part of the problem that we were taking a big plane, the first airport, the nearest airport where they were supposed to be picked, is too small for the plane that was going. Now, they had to change. Remember, the Ethiopian government was being bombarded by demands from all countries for people to be evacuated. So you reach the border, and there are probably 10,000 people. So think about the immigration of that country. Think about a small town on any border that receives 5,000 people at a go. They finish the food immediately. The ones who are sick, fortunately, there were doctors amongst our people. Some of the people were actually sick. So even when you reach the border town, all the pharmacies and all the clinics have been exhausted. There is no medicine. So people don't quickly realize how much logistically this means. So for me, I commend the government. And you see, the order was very clear. The people had to come back and had to come back quickly. So General Karara was very exhausted. Of course, the whole entire team was very exhausted. But they did a commendable job, I think.
Good. Asuman, do you have... can you commend government for once at least?
Yes. Why do you say for once? And secondly, let me tell you, we do what we do: pay taxes, support the building of our capacities, even sometimes actively asking our able-bodied youth to join forces because we want to have capacity to quickly do that when need arises. And when we do it, when we fail to do it, it is legitimate to rebuke government.
Yeah, true.
When they do it this way, well, it is a responsibility, but you can say thank you.
Good.
But that thank you can only be a gift, not a right, because that is your responsibility,
yeah, true,
as
true.
a government.
True.
That is one. But number two, when we do that, we must also take lessons, especially underlying issues that caused that. For me, what occupied my mind during the evacuation was not the evacuation itself, because that is expected. A father is not, I shouldn't, as a child, I shouldn't forever be thankful to my father for playing the role, his role.
Human. You don't want to be grateful to your
Forever.
father?
I am grateful,
I don't
but
want
it
to
should
be
not
your
be.
father then. I'm a father, but I don't want to be your father. A very ingratitude child I don't want to have.
So it would be as if my father did not do his responsibility, he would be blameless. That's, in other words, what you're saying.
Are you a father?
I am.
Okay.
Now,
So we shall discuss fatherhood outside here, because you need to be very careful with this concepts of fatherhood.
No.
You have to be
You
very,
see,
very careful, my
when
young brother.
my point is, if you're playing your responsibility, nobody should go on his
thank you.
knees forever.
Actually, here
You
we
get
don't
it?
have a father, we have a judge.
You see, you get it? Forever, because that is a responsibility for which you were father.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever government did, those were responsibilities for which they are a government.
Yeah, true.
Now, for me, my interest and what occupied my mind was what caused the crisis. And these geopolitical analysts should actually be telling us that, because let me tell you, don't you think the circumstances and where we are now was where Sudan was a few years ago?
Yeah, true.
It was. So are we therefore also taking lessons in regard to the path Sudan walked? Are we concerned that we might be walking towards where Sudan is? That must be the biggest lesson we should be taking.
Okay. All right, Moya, I don't know if you are appreciative of what government did.
Showing
Though
appreciation.
50, we are told 50 Ugandans are still trapped in the Sudan.
Giving appreciation is a sign of discipline. Even the ultimate creator who gave us life, God, wants those who appreciate him. So I appreciate the government for the efforts done. It would be unfortunate if the government officials and the other players came out thumping their chests, wanting us to praise them for doing that. That is what Asman was talking about here. That if a father is going to go into the trading center and say, I'm a great man because I provide food and clothes and pay fees, that should not be the basis.
But no one has done that.
That's what I'm saying, that it would be unfortunate. So for this, yes, it is commendable. I hope there is better tracking. Actually, it raises the point of diplomatic tracking. The diplomatic mission is the Ugandans who are in the different countries where they exist. So if it was done in such a quick time, the diplomatic mission in Sudan should also be commended for having the capacity to track the Ugandans, and we hope those that are still trapped there can be tracked in the shortest time possible and evacuated back home. We thank the government.
Actually,
for that.
I think he made a very important comment there. the diplomatic missions, wherever they are, they should always be in touch with Ugandan nationals, wherever they are,
No, it's
in
the other
case
way.
anything
It's
happens.
the other way
The
around.
other way around.
Yeah, it's the other way around. Imagine you come to a country
Yeah, anyway.
and you don't tell the diplomatic mission you are here. How will they know?
Actually.
The citizens must understand, and this we don't. In fact, a lot of people are happier to have a negative view of missions. But I always tell people, it is excellent. It is best for you, for the mission to know that you are around.
Exactly.
Because they respond faster, when they know. And you can never know when you get involved in a motor accident.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, just in motor accident which you can get involved in here.
Or you can be involved, you can be arrested, or
Anything can happen. My problem one day was
in
I
prison.
was pickpocketed. And they hid my documents.
What Mr. Baguma here may also need to pay attention to is that many of Ugandans who are in other countries are there as illegal immigrants, just like we have illegal immigrants here from other countries.
Yeah, true.
And when somebody is in a country as an illegal immigrant,
you may not be.
they may not have that kind of freedom
courage.
to associate with the mission, but still,
Officials.
the mission remains a responsibility bearer.
Oh, no question about it.
Of those people. So they, either they get deported back home, or but the ministry, the mission does not get relieved of their responsibility to care for those Ugandans and their welfare just because they're in those countries as immigrants.
Thank you so much, and gentlemen, it's really in order. To commend government on these efforts to evacuate Ugandans, and we hope even those 50 who are still stranded will be evacuated very soon. As we wind up on these big stories, one more, please, one more. Baguma, last week you talked about a story of that Ethiopian sportsman who had a string of businesses, and it tells you of how governments actually can support their citizens to improve their talents and actually make them better and important citizens in their countries. This week, we were told Uganda will play its next AFCON game in Cameroon because our own CAF approved stadium Nambole is still under renovation. Renovation started in January 2022. UPDF Engineering Brigade is doing the work, but even the FUFA president this week said they are doing shoulder work, and actually a contractor should be changed. I don't know if we are serious about sports as an industry and what can actually make our citizens better. A comment, and we move on to our main topic.
The sports will be important on two grounds. One, if it's a vote winner, that's the first one. If it's a vote winner, it will be important, or a vote loser, for that matter. Now, until it is adequately political, it will not get attention here. And the problem is, when I say these things, people say I support them. No. I say the things as I assess them. The things that will be paid attention to are potholes which become a political
Issue.
The sports, nothing. You are telling me that the sports, the president of what? Went to the pitch. Really? And you want me to feel very good about that president? It's part of the more circus.
I don't know if you're following this story.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's a very, very disappointing thing, first of all.
And whenever we play games,
The last one was played in Egypt.
We paid heavily. I think it is close to.
I told you the first
70
reason
billion.
when it becomes political. The other one, if it stops being a hemorrhage for people's pockets. Once it remains a good hemorrhage spot for people's pockets, of course, it will remain in this quagmire.
Okay, Asman, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the point is what my brother here is saying about political. You know, Number two, because you see, we must understand that the regime in town, their commitment is towards everything they will do. Their ultimate goal is be in power, and therefore everything is viewed towards that direction. What does not help them towards the consolidation and remaining in power?
But Asman, sports is another avenue that can actually garner support. And even governments like ones of Amin and Mobutu were marching to sports because it's one that brings people together and somehow can
let me tell you, they bring people together, but this one, I am telling you that those that think they will only pay attention. You see, forget about bringing people together for whatever reason. But what does not bring people together to help them consolidate their power? Let me tell you, there was a time when Uganda was a project.
Has it stopped?
Listen, when Uganda was a project, those things were...
project?
Yes, it stopped a long time ago.
Okay.
When Uganda was a project for all of us,
okay,
those sectors were important. Those things were important. You would really see where they put money. But when Mr. Museveni is the project, money will be got from every sector. Sports will be ignored. By the way, there are countries in this region whose bigger chunk of GDP is through sports, and they survive. We have talents here. We have talents here. So forget about those things converging people for this reason or the other reason. The reason is there is something. The focus is not there. The focus is here. It is not there. It is not there. And anything, regardless of what English or what innovation or what talent you have around there, if it does not support this goal here, please just keep quiet and be there.
Mwaya Ibrahim, we only have one stadium approved by CAF for such a games. And now we are going to pay heavily.
Just before Ibra comes in, let me tell you, do you know that not long time ago, there was a promise to build almost in every region of this country stadium? So what happened? Where did the money go?
I saw a report recently.
My friend,
that
you still follow those promises.
The plan for funding fell flat. Well, I think it was Buhinga Stadium in Fort Portal. There is Akbua Stadium in Mid-North. It all stopped.
Where they went and built a toilet over.
See, Apollo, we have a problem with the prioritizing. And I have sung that song, I don't know how many years. Our priorities are not in order because it is, like he has said, an individual's project. The key question here is, how did the UPDF get the contract?
No, it was a directive, I remember.
That is the point. That is the point. We have
all government projects
of construction,
either in health or
they should be through the UPDF.
Except the war, of course.
Except the war.
So
that was a nice one.
On where they have capacity.
No, the directive is the problem, and that we go on with it and so on. You see, the president came out and paraded the army and sold the army as some incorruptible institution. Even when we have had the issues of Janga helicopters, ill-fitting uniforms and one-sided issues procured by the army in the past. So NADS is in the hands of the army. They will run operation wealth creation, they will run construction. But the key issue here is that an ordinary journalist like Apollo will not go and inquire into what the army is doing in Nambole, the army went and kicked away people's businesses that were there. I know people who had put up car bonds there and so on. So that is where the problem is, that any institution that cannot be brought to accountability by ordinary citizens is in charge of national funds and so on and so
according
forth.
to according to Moses Magogo, the president of FUFA, the money that is being spent to renovate Nambole can actually 97 billion, according to him, can build at least 2 or 3 new stadiums.
Is that
That is what he said.
Is that news when we have the most expensive road in terms of cost per kilometer in the world in the name of the express highway? Never mind that this stadium in the first place was not built by the government. So you can't even renovate what you didn't build. President Museveni does not care about sports, like Baguma was saying. It is okay when Chiprotich wins a medal and he's hosted to a state dinner, photographs go. So the photographs are a vote winner. He doesn't care, but he appears to care when it suits him. And the demagogos and so on will make all the noise they want. This is part of the national tragedy we have. We don't have a sense of shame. We don't have a sense of pride, whether it is the national airlines, whether it is the national stadium. We have had situations where the national team has almost lacked tickets to go and play games, and the Speaker of Parliament erroneously comes out and orders that every parliamentarian is deducted a certain amount of money, the legality of which can even be questioned, but it has political capital. We appear to care, and so on and so forth. So it is shameful, it is wasteful, but also there is a lot of saving being done on getting those contracts to go and play those games. People are getting money out of them, and for as long as people are getting money out of them, perhaps we shall even suggest that for better reception, one of the games gets hosted in America or even South America and so on and so forth. So that in Uganda anything is possible.
Anything can happen
in this country.
All right, viewers, this is the dialogue. Now we'll be going for a short break, but when we return, police brutality, use of excessive force is the main topic for discussion this morning. The gentlemen in the studios will be analyzing what or how this will end, because we've talked about it. Many reports have been written about how security agents are actually brutalizing Ugandans on even small matters. Just women legislators, planning to march to the Internal Affairs Ministry and present a document, and the chaos ensues. People are beaten. Members of parliament are dragged like chicken thieves. Anyway, let's go for a break, and we'll be returning after a short while. This is on these matters of national importance. Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, a communication expert and an advocate for proper nutrition. We have the Secretary General for the National Economic Empowerment Dialogue, NED, a political party registered in Uganda, and Mwai Ibrahim is a political activist. And of course, we send shouts to all our viewers and those who participate in this program. It's time now you can send in your messages and tell us what you think about these particular topics, and more especially about police brutality, which is not new actually in public discourse. We have talked about it several times, but it looks like security agents are not ready to drop this character anyway. And I received a message, gentlemen. It is from Dr. Gerard Weria Wanzara. He is watching, a regular panelist here, and he says, Dr. Gerard says, the UPDF Engineering Brigade has capacity in terms of mobilization of men at the construction site at Nambole, with the ability to construct the wall and paint the walls of the stadium, but they have limited capacity to construct a modern multi-sport stadium. Like they are subcontracting all other technical works at Nambole because they can't able to read the ground technical designs and do the work. Let's use UPDF to construct facilities like schools where they have capacity. Regards to the panel, Richard, my friend Odaka, and my university contemporary, Moe Ibrahim. Thank you so much, Dr. Gerard Wedhe-Wanzala, and I also agree that we should not think I mean, we should always deploy where we have capacity, and possibly we may not have capacity in everything. And again, we should not be happy when we see medals and trophies coming in.
But that is where a
And we
tendering
not
process
invest.
would come in handy. Because if there was a proper process of people applying for tenders, then those in charge would look at the technical capacity of those that are seeking tender to do such.
Actually, capacity is evaluated during.
Yes, but now
the
if
bid.
it is a directive, issues of capacity will not be evaluated.
All right, gentlemen, let's go straight to the ugly scenes we witnessed this week. Not the first time, not the second time, it has been happening, but this time around, women legislators, marching to present their document to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and then police ascends on them and chaos ensues. I don't know, Richard, what you make of such incidents.
No, I already talked about this. First, I think the Uganda Police Force does a lot of good things. I think the Uganda Police Force, like many other institutions in this country, have been steered into evil. I don't think the police force, those guys are evil. They are many good, compassionate, well-trained, well-educated guys. Contemporary, Moya is talking with here with Wanzara. They know how many policemen they were within class, competing. Very well, even in high school and in essays, some of them emerged with the best
Grades.
Absolutely. So it's not a collection of evil human beings. No, I don't agree to that. You see, let's look at the genesis of this violence. Okay, just this immediate one. There is a woman who is hospitalized,
Yeah, true.
who was brutalized,
Buguvuma woman
who was
MP.
elected by the people of the islands. Part of the anger was a reaction to that.
Not just her. They beat her, they beat her father, they beat her mother, they beat her brothers.
Yeah, so part of the anger. And this was on recorded.
On camera.
Yeah.
This was recorded. Now, those women also, you see, it reminded me, one time I was on Rome Street and they caught a pickpocket. I think somebody had grabbed somebody's bag. A woman was riding a Porsche. She stopped in the middle of the road, opened the car, forgot that the car was open, the keys were in there, her handbag and expensive phone. She removed her shoe and ran to beat this person. So people were putting hands saying, come back to the car, they are going to steal the other bag and the other phone. She said, you see this car? Somebody put this car on me while they were grabbing
The necklace.
my necklace. So she forgot, she reacted. This is the anger that you are seeing with the members of parliament. They obviously knew that they were going to be brutalized.
Yeah.
They also know that they can meet Kahinda Otafire or whoever the ministers in parliament. They also know that they can bring it in the floor of parliament and the minister will come and speak. They know these things, but they had to get out. What has happened in their constituencies? That when a woman MP
Organizes an
a
event.
Women's Day, the RDC instructs that they must be stopped at all cost. Now, this is the allegation that I have had, that the one who is the most brutal police force or LOD is the one who gets promotion. That the deputy RDC who orders and is most, you brutalize the opposition most, is the one who becomes the full RDC.
Mr. Baguma, don't say you had, you know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. You see, for me, I collect evidence.
Yeah,
so I
you're
don't
right.
have this
You're right.
this data to say Odaka was the most brutal and was promoted.
It was promoted.
But this is what I have had. Now, Apollo, who appoints RDC?
He's the president.
Absolutely.
He's the head of state.
So yes. So who shuffles RDCs?
The same
Who instructs RDCs? So it cannot be a problem of the police. This is a baby of President Museveni. And I say,
violence.
Yes.
because you see, who takes you when you come and do wrong things here? Who will take responsibility?
My boss.
UCC does not write to you. No. So for me, there has to be responsibility at the level where we place it. Otherwise, we point our anger to the wrong people, who is the police. They are also, didn't they tear gas their own wives?
Yeah.
You think they are happy to do that? Don't they sleep in those places where the wives are complaining? So for me, I don't want us to keep this meandering about this problem. This problem must be addressed by the chief executive of this country. These are the direct representatives. They are not even indirect representatives. These are direct representatives. You want to intervene. Okay, you intervene. But you see, so that one must be addressed directly to him, and he must address this, the brutalization. But we know that where we are headed, we are going to have very high political temperatures.
Yeah, true.
The sample was given by the sweeping of this region by a wave, a red wave, of somebody who came
People
from
power
the
movement.
people who come from the ghetto. It's if you are a political leader and reader, then you know that that's dangerous. It must be cooled down, especially as we go to the next dispensation. And the method, you know. You see, when you are a carpenter and in your bag you have a hammer, every problem
Is brute force.
is a nail.
Is chewed by.
Is a nail, yes.
Oh.
And that's the history that is known, that has been practiced and has brought results for them.
I don't know if I can add anything on that, Asman. I don't know.
Yeah, but you see, first of all, that's correct. But number two,
This one is going to be beaten, by the way, sorry.
no.
I should prepare for Chibok.
I have been beaten many times,
Victim, eh?
and
I'm not saying that because I am happy.
no. You see, there's a saying in Uganda. In Uganda, I'm a Japadola myself from Tororo.
But you have
But
been
they
organized.
say that Echiri atabala.
That's
Echiri anasigadde waka.
That's what happened to the wives of the police women.
You get it? So Muhammad Kirumira said, you talk, you die. You don't talk, you die. So you better talk. And so I will tell you that the character of institutions are normally defined by the leaders of the institutions.
correct.
And so if you want to trace the police violence, and I want to first of all add a voice to what Senior Baguma has just said, that you see, I have gone to school with so many people in police. There are many. I know many. Some of them we were decamates. To date, we still, I mean, politics, we talk. I know they are very decent people. They are first of all, very educated, very decent, with a lot of humility, many of them. So it is not correct to the entire force or all the people. They are to be defined by what we see on the streets. What we see on the streets have origin. And some of them you can trace it way before many of them were born. I normally hear my brothers here quote the president's university thesis and so on, because that is his belief. That begins a foundation of what he believes in. There is a gentleman, a professor from Busoga there. He is now a retired man. So one time we were having a conversation with him. I visited him somewhere there. Then he told me, I think before Lule or Binais around there, these people around the central were saying, no Lule, no work, and so on. So, and he was, I think, Minister of Defense, the current president or something. So they went in a meeting and said, Banan, these things are now disrupting. What do we do? So he told them, because this professor says he was in the meeting, he says, you give me time. I want to take there a few soldiers. Let's just kill 12. And this professor telling me that was being said by president. Let's kill 12. The following day, you will not see anybody on the street. And they went to the State Square. So that also The professor says he was in a meeting.
That's the history of violence.
That's the history of violence. So so this violence of the leader, of the team leader, has a background from way back before these policemen who are being commanded. We know for a fact. My brother was fearing to mention. I know about because I said I know many I went to school with, secondary, university, even postgraduate. We've been with them. I know how, but I also know those. How come those that you know? I'm going to mention him because he's never apologized. Two of them, Moses Kaffer.
No.
Moses Kaffer.
Yeah, he was.
One time, I was even a young man. I had just joined this politics. We were standing somewhere around.
He was DPC Kampala CPS.
By then, he was, I think, Karapiso or DPC Kampala. He was CPS by then. Moses Kafero finds myself, Angoliga is now dead, was FDC, Basalirwa. Do you know getting this? Simply because Basalirwa, then he was a lawyer to these Wingrid and so on. The man finds us and, do you know, without talking, we thought he was just passing and he was waving to us. And shh,
he sprayed.
And we all felt pepper, and we said, now where is this one coming from?
A whole.
Yes, Moses Kaffer. Then there was a gentleman who used to be called, and you know, after that, Moses Kaffer was taken to anti-stock, promoted, then came back. He came back as a big person.
So that.
There was another one called Turiag Manawe.
The argument.
You remember the gentleman called Turiag Manawe?
That confirms the argument that those who do wrong are actually promoted.
Yes. You remember Turiag Manawe? Yeah. We went there. We were with the Honorable Salam Sumba. There was somebody who was at CPS. We went there, and Turiag Manawe started. And you know, one of my anger with Turiag Manawe is trying to demonize the language. And he started, instead of speaking the language everybody understands, then he goes to Nyankole and begins telling some police officer, thinking we'd not, from nowhere, because simply we visited a police station, going to visit the people who were there. So after that, you know what Turiag went. I don't know whether he's now retired or what. You know to Mwesigwa. Huh? Mwesigwa.
Yeah.
James Mwesigwa.
Who was, he was at one time Commander Kampala Metropolitan, then was taken to us.
The 2015.
The way they climb, and I'm telling you, those are all people in whose hands I saw brutality. Now, so whenever, and those
brutality is rewarded.
Is rewarded, and wherever you see anybody who joins the police force or army for that matter wants to be promoted. You see, now you will compare those who are being promoted against those who are not being promoted. So which behavior would you want if you want to be promoted? You remember this one who just handed himself in? Bakaleke. When Bakaleke was, I remember one time we had a rally around that place called Growers. Now somebody has is building an arcade. I don't know who it used to be. We used to even play their football around why is there. I saw Bakaleke commanding people throwing stones. You know, throwing stones. He was by then he was the DPC Kawempo or something, but he was the one commanding the heating. You remember they hit Lord Mayor's car? And that was Bakaleke. You know how Bakaleke was promoted and so on. And so what we are talking about is that if you place people, then bad behaviors are rewarded. You will definitely motivate even those junior ones to behave like that. That's one. But the last one is, let me tell you, that police brutality should not only be whatever about police. You know what is happening in this country? Everybody is frustrated. Everybody is angry. Let me tell you, you simply cause a small scene around the stage there now. Even if Apollo, you're putting on a nice suit, you just say, that one is a thief. Somebody who does not know, somebody will just begin beating you.
That's how a lawyer was reached
You lynched, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So the kind of anger.
There are many people who have been lynched.
Yeah, there are so many. Let me tell you, the kind of anger,
there is
the kind of
public anger
frustration.
and frustration.
Yes.
It has also crossed into
And I want to warn.
security
So when they begin, you see, we are discussing it now because it has caught the eyes of you people, the media, because they've beaten members of parliament. I am telling you, there is this girl from FDC who one time was undressed on Barara Road called Fatuma somebody. Naigaga. And many others. You know how they treat, and let me tell you, by the time they treat members of parliament like that, you just don't want to imagine.
That is the concern.
How they treat the ordinary person when there is no camera. You see, when there's no camera.
Because they were aware the cameras are on.
The cameras are there. These are members of parliament. Some of those police women and men who were doing all that, some of them even work with those people at parliament. But they had no shame, they had no restraint of behaving that way. Therefore, me, I am saying, well, maybe sometimes it needs to happen to the big people, because members of parliament have some reasonable power and also have the platform to say,
to engage
to engage the powers that be. Because for us, they beat you and they say it's just an opposition. It is as if being opposition is now criminal in this country. So I will tell you that for me, at least, when you want something to be addressed, there is a button. Maybe that's a button for this to be addressed. You see, how this Libya thing, of course, regardless of the other issues that sparked it off, you remember it was a riot in the jail, a riot in the jail, and the guy on top thought he was comfortable and everything was proper. Sunusi tells him, and this said, you just go and spray those cockroaches. The cockroaches ended up finding him in a what? In a mutaro, what we call mutaro in Tororo.
Moya, we have talked about it several times, but it looks like it's not going to end. Use of excessive force. And indeed, the two colleagues here talked about anger. Looks like anger has, it's not only about promotion, like they said. Looks like the anger has even crossed to the security forces. You see that they are angry. It's not about, I don't think it's not about orders.
For police, it is about orders. But generally, we have a practice of brutality as a population. The best way to discipline a child is by beating them into their senses. I have always had dialogue with those who say corporal punishment in schools should go away, and I agree it should, but it won't. Because the way it is addressed is wrong. It is embedded in our national thinking and cultural practice that the orders of an elder are not questioned. And when you don't do as the elder says, the recalcitrance has to be beaten out of you. I stay with the mothers who their first response to a 2-month-old baby not stopping crying is a slap. That's where the brutality comes from. Now, when somebody is becoming a police officer, they are going through a training process. When we are getting professionalized, we go through a training process. But the teacher will forget everything they were taught in school on how to manage child discipline and go to the punishing methods of their mother, of their father, of their grandfather, and so on. Chinua Achebe writes in Hour of God that a child who is sent by his father to go and steal will not go steal through. They will kick the door. Because every child has a confidence that their father is the strongest man in the village. Anybody who touches me will see father. Actually, it is the duty of every father to make their children believe that he is the strongest man in the village. They should have that belief. Now, these officers know what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do. They are trained in the law. They know the limits of their force, but they have been sent by their father to go and steal, and they will not go through Kamoli.
We even the law has been amended to the effect that a police officer should not take wrong, they call them wrong orders, what do you call them?
The law,
they prosecuted individually, but
the
they
law,
still do it.
Personal liability.
The law and the practice. How many things do you eat that you have been told by doctors that if you eat them, they will make you sick? How many? What is your diet? The nutrition campaign is here. What is your diet like, even when you know? When I was teaching in some school, we got kids with this drug called Kuba. That Kuba was written on strictly causes cancer. Okay, it is written on in red, causes, not may, not could, but causes cancer. And we are questioning this kid. How do you take this thing that? And the kid is adamant and says, how would I benefit from being buried with the functioning lungs? Okay. But the problem is that this kid is addicted. Even if they want to get out, they have no way out.
Violence improved to an addiction?
It is rewarded. It is the way to a top rank. Do you know what it means to be an ordinary policeman?
Kurutu.
To be a kurutu, as we used to call them. The kind of education your children get, the kind of clothes your children put on. Now, if we want to go where the bread is distributed, you must be seen to do what the distributor wants.
I'm actually amazed that with a professional force,
all those ones go into the background.
And PhDs are...
all those ones go into the background. We have seen, now, would you imagine what happens in the cabinet and what ministers with doctorates in this country do? It goes into the background and survival comes to the forefront. So the culture of brutality, the frustration in the country, trust me, Asman here should be the one raising it. There is no police officer, I can say with confidence, who is not in the yellow book at their village.
That's true.
Actually, you can't be a police officer if you are not in the yellow book.
That's true.
Okay?
The force has been...
So, these, apart from being policemen, are NRM cadres. And when it comes to opposition politicians, it is not policemen dealing with the citizens. It is NRM cadres dealing with those who might potentially get the bread out of their hands. They are dealing with opponents.
Actually, brother, let me give you information. When Lord Mayor, at that same time when Bakaleke led the stoning, Lord Mayor was arrested together with the Arod Kaid. They took them to Bakaleke's office. Now, in Bakaleke's, just above Bakaleke's chair, there was a big portrait of Museveni and written on, "I support YK Museveni." So Lord Mayor turns and takes a photograph. So now, the moment he takes a photograph, then Lord Mayor says, "I can post it." But that's when the beating on Lord Mayor started in Bakaleke's office.
Even at an academic level, these people, what they do is against what proven psychological research shows. Because one of the precursors of violence is the individuation. When people when you know that you will not be singled out as an individual. But these people are doing it in the face of camera. Even when James Mwesige, after beating up Andrew Rwanga in 2015 to hospital, and he was prosecuted as an individual, I think he was fined 1 million and then told to pay damages of 5 million, and the magistrate, I'm forgetting her name, that popular lady in the magistrate's office. She was saying that, you see, we are awarding small damages because the president gave money to this person and the police has taken over the treatment of the person and so on. So the option is of prosecuting the individuals even before the amendment of the law have always been there, because when somebody, it is a common law principle that when you obey unlawful orders, you are answerable as an individual. But that one will not play for as long as what is taking place is rewarded. Lastly,
finally,
the aspect of dehumanization. When people are stripped of their human character and they are called names, if you read Vaughan and Hogg, social psychology, it becomes easy for others to commit acts of murder against them. In the genocide in Rwanda, one group were cockroaches and another group were tall trees. So they are not killing a human being, they are cutting down a tree in the forest. They are not killing a human being, they are crushing a cockroach. So I'm interested in knowing how the politicians are referred to in the circles of police and the forces, the security forces. Because if there has been an element of dehumanization, calling them names, rats, and so on and so forth, then it takes away the guilt somebody. They will not feel that they are inflicting pain on a fellow human being. For them, in their mind, they will be crushing those rats. That is how it is easy, for example, in the elite forces of America, for somebody to throw a bomb on a city. Because the whole city is reduced to the term target. If you told this person that if they knew just before dropping that bomb that they are going to kill 1 million people, their conscience will tell them, no, this is not right. But because they are only destroying a target, and they will get confirmation that the target destroyed, it becomes acceptable and it aligns with their conscience. So these people are not even getting a post-traumatic stress disorder because they see nothing wrong with what they are doing. It is rewarded, and it is also maybe based on a dehumanization process that has been going on.
Thank you, Muwai, and viewers, you can send in your message now. You can tell us what you think about this violence perpetrated by security agents, especially from police, and if you think it is about to end. I don't know.
No, I've heard.
Here's a message. Praise God.
Okay.
Ebya Uganda byasoba mukama yeka. I am Musomesa Daniel from Chegegwa, a house of prayer. Thank you so much. You can continue sending in your messages. We would want to read them out. Apollo, thank you for always educating the nation at large. It is regrettable of what happened to our women representatives. However, my challenge has always been, these MPs have access to these ministers while in parliament. Why go to the street at their caliber, his area up? Thank you so much. It is his opinion. He thinks that possibly they shouldn't have marched to protest on the streets. He says, oh my God, why is police practicing this? I really feel embarrassed if they can do that to people who are their bosses even. What about our parents in villages? Otherwise, good morning. Thanks for the show. You didn't give us your name. Please always attach your names to your messages. We would like to know who we are communicating with. And Jeda Diwere Wanzala is watching again. He sends a message, and it is quite long, and I will read it out. He is a regular panelist here. I am aware that the Uganda police officers receive professional training, including training on human rights, but the problem with what we see is politicization and militarization of police. I think, gentlemen, you had raised this one. And these arise from the political goal of the regime of the day and attaching promotion and deployment opportunities to ability to demonstrate that you are working to protect the regime. But eventually, as we see, gradually the people and security services are becoming enemies, something that the NRA ideology did not believe in. The NRA Bush ideology desired bridging the gap between security forces and the people, and Mr. Museveni has said it at several times that security forces exist because of the people, but not the other way around. Unfortunately, in latter years of his administration, the practice is different. Thank you so much, Jared Wanzala, and I don't know if Baguma really concurs with what you are saying. Baguma, you can take it from there.
No, I've had people, and you read the comment, saying that you see, I was even listening on local radio, there are people who must support the position that is seen to be for the president, or what they assume. I know that the president will come out and, okay, well, I don't know, but I believe that the president will come out and condemn.
And condemn.
Condemn the violence. Because, you see...
Yet you said he is the author of the whole script.
Yeah. No, you see...
It is not about what he says, it is about what he wants.
I did not even say he is the author.
It is Asmani who said it was the author.
I did not even say he's the author.
Others are imitating him.
My very strong position is, and that's what I was saying, when you read what somebody has written, when you read the people who have worked with him, I don't know if you have read Kazora's book, or Oria Maza's book.
Yes.
I don't know, all of them, these generals who have written. But you remember when he was, I think he was in Karamoja. I think of it was the Kayunga, the Kabaka royal. And somebody was beaten, and he said, yeah. I know it was, I think, about Bubi or something. He said, he was...
Kayunga, that he was beaten. Just beaten properly.
It was Arua. After Arua.
But, so you see, there are some comments which come out.
It was beaten properly.
And you are thinking, but I think the president will take an official position. Because he also responds to the political temperatures that are around, so he will come and he must condemn these guys for their violence. They are not sent to do this, they must be retrained or whatever it is. But then if you listen to Mwaya and Odaka, the reward system behaves differently. Yeah. So what communicates? I think actions communicate louder than words. Yeah. But I have heard, I was hearing these people, many of them think that they are more Museveni supporters than we are. I obviously am.
Are you?
I am a Museveni supporter, obviously. And I have been saying I'm a Musevenist. I'm saying, don't tell me about the vehicle called NRM. You tell me the vehicle called NRA. That's the one I know. And you see that the members of parliament should not have gone out of parliament. They should have spoken on the floor of parliament. You see, when they are being brutalized, they are not brutalized in parliament.
Yes.
The reaction was not about parliament. We have had the brutalization of parliament before by another group. But these women, their anger, their cry, their desperation to reach this level. By the way, Apple, no woman wants to go and be
undressed
and have her thighs exposed. No one wants to go and be thrown on a pickup brutally. No one wants to go and have her private parts squeezed. This is not fun. This is not fun. But also on the side of the police women who are arresting them, and this is the side we don't look at. Some of them are also in hospital. Don't think that those women who often salute these MPs going in are happy to brutalize them. No, it is wrong for anyone to think that they are doing it happily with glee. No. So it's when you are, I don't know, you guys, you have not picked these incidents. Grasshoppers. I don't know if you have picked grasshoppers.
I have.
When you pick grasshoppers and you put them in a container, what happens? They eat each other. You just put chicken, you people who rear chicken in this pen, and you don't give them food that day.
They eat it.
I mean, yeah. So if you cannot see this, if you are going to do any analysis and you think for you support President Museveni,
So
more
no
than
one
we
is
do.
safe.
If please, I think you're joking.
Okay, I will read some of the messages, but Wuma, I want you to respond to what briefly to what Asman said. He said that he is to some extent happy that these things are happening to these big people. That until that possibly these people who have platforms, bigger platforms. I don't know if I'm getting it
Yes.
right. That now MPs who have. I saw the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He even adjourned the House
Yes.
until Wednesday because of this particular issue, the violence. Even the Speaker of Parliament, it took the Speaker of Parliament to drive to CPS.
But let's see what
Have
they will
them
do.
released.
You know that these MPs are going to be prosecuted?
Okay, it's another matter. But I'm looking at what level this thing has reached. Members of Parliament, do you have hope, Richard, that possibly some good thing may come out of this now that even female members of Parliament have been undressed on the street?
Yeah, but you see, for me, already that we are discussing it, because the Odakas have been beaten, and we were not, the entire media and the entire, I don't know, Human Rights Commission, someone, IGP.
Yes.
Of course, the IGP will go there out of humility. But if you summon me as the IGP or Human Rights Commissioner, they don't come, what can you do? Do you have a police to come and break me? So this whitewashing and public gymnastic will happen. But why you say it is good is but what that means you people, good or bad, if they get my colleague who is trying to put a women's group in a constituency. By the way, let me tell you, in Buvuma, even if people went for the rally, they are surrounded by water.
Yes.
And they are very few. So even if you let them have their rally for the next 1 week,
Where there is no water, there are rocks.
the guys, where will and then for what? They will exhaust themselves and go away. So for me, these women are not left with choice, good or not good. It is this choicelessness, the desperation, that they put themselves out there.
The firing line.
Absolutely. And the danger, you see why we need to look at the security forces. We have had, of course, police people also beaten. I think one of them in the previous riots, there was a brick which hit him and he died. But also you have to worry when you are in the security forces. If these women go on the street, the Odakas who oppose you, and Odakas, sorry for using your name, but I'm just a reference, can actually harm these women. Somebody unhappy and angry can be on the street and shoot an MP woman who is walking with a placard. So as a security, you also get confused. Do I allow them if they are harmed on the street? It comes back to my chest. So what I'm saying is we must deal with the root issues that bring this desperation.
How did we get to that level?
This is the point.
Where even an armed female legislator wants to walk on the street and you, security, even fear.
But you see,
Apollo,
how did we get here? We have
Apollo,
been cheering this on.
Apollo, I'm finding the last segment of Mr. Baguma's submission a bit dishonest.
No, it is very realistic.
If it was NRM,
yes, it is
if it was NRM women
are
MPs,
holding events in their district,
there would be security beefed up.
And
How much
so can
security?
I respond quickly?
Yes, please.
That if an NRM woman MP is shot on the street, they will not choose security of shooting their own. If it is an opposition shot by your enemy, it is like you are quarreling, and we have seen this, you are quarreling with your neighbor on a land issue. Another person who has a problem with you comes and attacks you, they say it's because of the land dispute. So you don't allow that in security.
Where did we get to this level
No.
where political contestation has been elevated to a level of enmity. Because there is a difference between a rivalry and the enmity. The literature man here can put me right. So I find that, in my opinion, a bit of excuse, and has been paraded in the security circles. It is the same as this person who was saying that why don't they go to Kololo, and why don't they go to wait for the minister in parliament? The freedom of expression is a constitutionally
guaranteed in the Constitution,
provided for under Article 29 of the Constitution. Even the police's right to arrest is provided for under Article 23 of the Constitution, under the Police Act, and under the Criminal Procedure Code Act. Even the use of force where necessary, because the Police Act says if a person resists arrest, police should do everything necessary,
but not excessive force.
Who defines necessary? Now, for them, they will say this is what was necessary. Okay.
Necessity is defined at the operation.
At the operation ground. Now, that's by law.
Yes,
now the practice.
Passed by parliament.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, by practice, it is quite a different thing. So, in the case of Mwanga Chivumbi, when the Constitutional Court came out and said, if there is a fear by police security forces that people who are exercising their rights might be harmed in some way by criminals, then it becomes the duty of the security forces to provide them
the necessary security.
How much policy presence do you need to escort 60 women?
Yes. They were 11.
11?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the whole opposition member of parliament and so on. Now, how many? 11? How many do you need to give them security?
No,
it happened here in 2005.
These events organized by women are actually organized in playgrounds. What does it take to secure a playground?
And actually, you cause more chaos when you disperse it with the tear gas.
Actually, the one that happened in Ibuvuma, this lady was even riding in a boat. And 12, imagine 12 UPDF, imagine shooting and chasing somebody around.
We should not be academic about these issues. So this should be condemned by everybody with a conscience in this country. It is just wrong, but although it is wrong, it will continue because it is rewarded.
That is what actually I wanted to ask you, because we are closing in 6 minutes. Do you have any hope that this will actually end?
Yes, after President Museveni leaves office, maybe.
Asuman, do you really think this is going to end?
You see, it will not end. It will not end because at least briefly we have mentioned when it started. It started with the man getting born. There is somebody who is now he works with the NRM secretariat. And he asked me, we were one time having coffee, and he asked me, we were talking about the man, and then he told me, based on what we have discussed for about an hour or two, if the birth and existence of Mr. Museveni was a dream, of course, definitely it would be a nightmare. And they told you, you want that dream to begin afresh till to death. Would you want that dream to reoccur? Of course, we laughed. Of course, it would be a horror kind of dream. But let me tell you, it will not. If you want the yes or no, it will not. It will not stop because the project now, most of what is happening now indicates that the violence has only to increase in order to define the end game, actually the exit of the current man and the entrance of what the man's interest or interested person is. That is one. Number two.
we are running out of time.
Apple, this is what, just briefly, this is what we cited when we were discussing with Mr. Baguma here, the Katakwi by-election, where there was no much of, was it Katakwi Serere? The same people who died in the accident. There wasn't much police brutality because the two leading candidates, although the other one was independent, they are both from NRM. Compare that with the Kayunga and the others.
Asman, wind up.
Yeah. Number two, I told you that now this violence has to midwife something else. By the way, it is being done deliberately. Number two is that, and this is something that came when I was driving to this place, that you see, it looks like certain things have to happen to certain people in order for people to fight for it harder. Today, we are talking about police brutality because it has happened to members of parliament. And I'm not saying it must happen to them. I am only saying we must attach importance. For example, when I arrived there, I told you what is happening in Chigorovia there. Do you know people are refugees in their own country?
Asman,
that is not attracting.
Is this brutality going to end?
It is not going to end. We only have, we all agree that the only way to end this is to end the regime, so that we get a government that is not a violence.
Hi, thanks thanks for the program. I always follow you, but however much policemen and women brutalize people, which is very bad, but even citizens are not easy, because the same people trying to fight them, the same people are always trying to fight them, which causes the insecurity and brutality. Hence, the others have to defend themselves. Anyway, thank you so much. The message is a bit long. I am Sabit Eric from Mutungo. Thank you so much, Sabit, and gentlemen, we must now wind up. Baguma, I don't know. You said this is not going to end, but
No, there is nothing that doesn't end. How can you say it won't end?
My concern is that the few years as we approach 2026, I don't know what you.
No, I already said that you see, the violence is deployed for objectives. It is not usually reckless for those who are in politics and have political objectives. Violence is part of the things that are deployed. That's why I was talking about a target. You are hitting a target because you have a political objective to achieve. So this is it. But Apple, there is nothing that does not end. So this thing that it will not end, of course, it eventually will, at an absolutely disproportionate cost. At a very disproportionate
When is that?
cost. Unless you am God to sit it down.
Viewers, it is time we close the show. I must thank you so much for being part of this program. Thank you so much, Moa Ibrahim, a political activist. Thank you for your time today.
But just one last one.
We don't know our time is running out.
The anti-homosexuality bill was never going to be signed, because as we have anti-sexuality bill before president to sign, cabinet is proposing tax exemption for importation of adult diapers. The two don't
economics will not work. Asman, thank you so much for being part of this program today, and I wish to see you back again here.
Thank you.
Richard Baguma, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much, viewers.
Adult diapers are not only for homosexuals.
Viewers, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. We hope to have you again, and thank you so much for that feedback. Continue sending that feedback, and we'll be pleased to read through those messages. And you can follow these programs on our social media platforms. Go to Salt TV Uganda on YouTube and all other platforms. You'll watch this show again. My name is Prince Apollo. I wish you a very good week ahead. Until next Saturday, bye-bye.